Hello students, I am Sunita Pawar, lecturer of ENC department, HAPN Trust Polytechnic, Nirsoshi. Today we will see all the questions from Unit 2 of Data Communication and Networking subject. Unit name is Networking Protocols and OSI Model. So on this chapter you are getting the questions up to 20 marks. So all the questions we will see which are comes in question papers as well as in question bank. So first we will see the need for protocol layered organization. What is the need of a protocols layered organization? First need is the layers work independently. The functions of different layers become as discrete as possible. Changes to one layer do not necessarily require changes to any other layers. To resolve the compatibility issue with other network manufacturers, other systems from PC to mainframes, and also with different types of operating systems and application software. To facilitate open interconnections of a computer system. Individual layers provide services to the layers above them and to process data from the layers below them. So that is the need of protocol layered organization. In the data communication, there are two different logical connections are used. So first one logical connection is a datagram approach or connectionless packet switching. Second, virtual circuit approach or connection-oriented packet switching. So these are the two types of logical connections. Now we will see the details. So first, datagram approach or connectionless packet switching. In datagram approach of packet switching, each packet is considered as a totally independent packet from all others, even when there are multiple packets sent by the same source to the same destination for the same message. Each packet is independent of all other packets from the point of view of the underlying of the network and actually can follow different routes. As shown in diagram, packet switching. Here computer A is sending 4 packets to another computer B. These 4 packets belongs to the same original message but travel via different routes and also can arrive at the destination B in a different order. Therefore, the destination node needs to have a buffer memory to store all the packets and at the end to resequence them to form the original message. It is obvious that each packet must have a header containing the source and destination address, the packet number, and the CRC, etc. The reason that the packet travels via different routes, that is the routing decision are taken for every packet separately. Each time at every node as the packet move from one node to the next node. As the network condition and congestion at different nodes differ every second. So this one is the explanation for the datagram approach. So this question you are getting for the 5 marks. It comes combined question, otherwise just only one single question as a datagram approach. Now we will see the virtual circuit approach. So virtual circuit approach is also called as a connection oriented packet switching. In the virtual circuit approach, All the packets belonging to the same message take the same route from the source to the destination. Based on the network conditions at the beginning, a single route is chosen between the source and destination before the actual data transfer takes place. A unique virtual circuit number, that is a VC number, is allocated to the path between the source and the destination. Each node on the path maintains just two entries. One is the VC number and another one is the address of the next node. During the actual communication, this same route is used for the complete duration of that communication. As in figure shows, here computer A wants to send a message to a computer D. However, one route is finalized during the connection establishment phase. Once this route is fixed, all the packets in the message are routed via the same route, even though alternate routes are available and are free. And in fact, many even be more efficient at some time phases during the communication. This is the data transfer phase. Finally, the virtual connection is released during the connection release phase. So this one explanation for the virtual circuit approach. Now we will see the OSI reference model. So this one is the number of the layers. 1 to 7 layers are there, and here according to the connection which are used in the host, according to that they are naming. The lowest layer, that is a physical layer, and upper level layer is the application layer is there. Layers in OSI model. First layer, physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, and application layer. This is the interaction between layers in the OSI model into host. So this one is the host 1 is there. In this host 1, the physical layer to the application layer, these are the 7 layers are there. And in host 2, the same layers are there, that is a physical to the application layer. In this interconnection between two hosts, there is a physical layer to the physical layer, there is a physical path is there, and remaining all the layers connected logically only. These two hosts are there. From the first host physical layer to the second host physical layer, they are connecting the physical path, and remaining all the layers connected logically only, and it's shown as in dotted lines only, that is the logical path is in between two hosts. Now we will see the detail of each layers. First is the physical layer. The physical layer is concerned with transmitting raw bits over a communication channel. It deals with the electrical and mechanical specification of cable, connectors, and interface. The physical layer takes care of the following factors. First, signal encoding representation of 0 and 1s. Second, type of medium and its characteristics. Third, bit synchronization. That is, transmission may be synchronous or asynchronous. Fourth, type of transmission. Either transmission is serially, parallelly transmission. Fifth, transmission mode. Whenever you are sending the data, then which type of the mode is used for the transmission, that is a simplex mode, half duplex mode, or a full duplex mode. Sixth, topology. Which topology is used in the physical layer, that one is considered. Either that mesh, ring, bus, star, or hybrid topology. Seventh, multiplexing, that is a FDM or a TDM. That is the explanation about the physical layer of a OSI model. Next, we will see the data link layer. The data link layer is responsible for transmitting a group of bits between the adjacent nodes. The group of bits is generally called a frame or a packet. The data link layer performs the following functions. First, addressing. Header and trailer are added containing the physical address of a node. Second, flow control. Devices that communicate on a network not transmit and receive at the same rates. If a sending system transmits faster than the receiving system, so it controls the flow of the transmission. Third, media access control, that is the MAC. In LANs, it decides who can send data, when, and how much. Fourth, frame synchronization. Data are sent in blocks called frames. The beginning and end of each frame must be recognizable. Fifth, error control. It is the process of detecting and correcting the transmission errors. 6. Node-to-node delivery. Finally, it is responsible for the error-free delivery of the entire frame to the next node. Third layer of the OSI model. The network layer is responsible for the source to destination delivery of packets across a network. The network layer performs the following functions. First is the routing. It is process of finding the shortest path between source to destination for sending packets. The criteria for measuring path length could be distance, bandwidth, average packet, cost, mean queue length, delay. Second, congestion control. Congestion on the network is like a congestion on roads. Congestion control is the process of limiting the number of packets in the subnet. 3. Logical addresses. Source and destination logical address, that is the IP address, is added into the logical addresses. Fourth, address transformation. Converting logical addresses to physical addresses, that is a ARP. Fifth, accounting and billing. Accounting function produce billing information depending on the number of messages sent by each customer. Sixth, source to destination error. Free delivery. Source to destination error-free delivery. Source to destination error-free delivery of packets. Next, transport layer. The transport layer is responsible for end-to-end delivery, free delivery of the entire message. The transport layer performs the following functions. Host-to-host message delivery. Provide reliable, cost-effective data transport from the source to destination computer. Second, application to application communication. The transport layer enables communication between two applications running on the different computers. Segmentation and reassembly. The transport layer breaks a message into a packet and a sequence number and use the sequence number at the destination to reassemble the original message. 4. Connection. The transport layer might create a logical connection between the source and the destination for the duration of the complete message transfer for better control over the message transfer. Session layer. The main functions are to establish, maintain, and synchronize the interaction between two communicating hosts. The important functions are of a session layer. First, dialog control. This layer decides which user or application send data and at what point of time and whether the communication is simplex, half duplex, or full duplex. Second, sessions or and subsessions. The session layer divides a session into subsession for avoiding retransmission of entire message by adding checkpointing feature. Synchronization. It decides the order in which the data need to be passed to the transport layer. Fourth function, session closed. This layer ensures that the session between the host is closed gracefully. Next is the presentation layer of a OSI model. The responsibilities of presentation layer are as follows. First, translation. The translation between the sender and the receiver message format is done by the presentation layer if the two formats are different. Encryption. The presentation layer performs data encryption and decryption for security. Third, compression. For efficient transmission, the presentation layer performs data compression before sending and decompression at the destination. Application layer of OSI model. It is the topmost layer in the OSI model, enables a user to access the network. The responsibilities of the application layer are as follows. 1. Network abstraction. Provide an abstraction of the network to an end user and an application. File access and transfer. It allows user to access, download or upload files from or to remote host. 3. Mail service. It allows the user to use the mail services. 4. Remote login. It allows remote login. It allows remote login into the remote host. Fifth, World Wide Web allows a user to access the web pages. That is the application layer functions. Now we'll see the concept of framing. Framing of data is done in a data link layer. Data link layer separates a message from one source to a destination or from other message to other destination by adding a sender address and the destination address. The destination address defines where the packet is to send or to go. The sender address helps the recipient acknowledge the receipt. If the whole data packet in one frame, that is not normally done. One reason is that a frame can be very large, making flow and error control very inefficient. When message is carried in one very large frame, even a single bit error would require the retransmission of a whole message. When a message is divided into smaller frames, a single bit error affect only that small frame only. So that is the need of framing and concept of framing. Now we'll see the error control. Network must be able to transfer data from one device to another device with complete accuracy. Data transmitted from source to destination can be become corrupted due to many factors like unpredictable interference from heat, magnetism, and other forms of electricity. This is known as error. Reliable system must have a mechanism for detecting and correcting such errors. In data link layer, the term error control refers to error detecting and retransmission. Error detection is the ability to find the presence of errors that occurs due to noise in the course of the transmission from the transmitter to the receiver. Flow control. Flow control is a set of procedure that tells sender how much data it can transmit before it must wait for acknowledgement from the receiver. Any receiving device has a limited speed at which it can process incoming data and a limited amount of memory to store incoming data. The receiving device must be able to inform the sending device before those limits are reached and to request that the transmitting device send fewer frames or to stop temporarily. Incoming data must be checked and processed before they can be used. Each receiving device has a block of memory called a buffer reserved for storing incoming data until they are processed. In buffer to fill up, the receiver must be able to tell the sender to halt transmission until it is once again able to receive. That is the flow control. On the error control and flow controller, you are getting question for 5 marks. So this one is the combined question. Explain error control and flow control for 5 marks. Encapsulation and decapsulation. On this also you are getting a question for the 5 marks. The process of converting the data into digital form is called encapsulation. When data moves from upper layer to lower layer of OSI model, data will be repackaged with lower layers headers. Decapsulation. The process of converting digital form into original data is called decapsulation. As the data moves up from the lower layer to the upper, each layer unpack the corresponding header. So this one is the encapsulation and decapsulation. So on this topic also you are getting the question for the 5 marks. Thank you.